All right, well, I'd like to welcome aboard Dave Patton, N1NN. Dave was first licensed at the age of 12. His father was a very active ham and got him interested in the hobby. And he is currently the Field Services and Radio Sport Manager at the ARRL. Welcome aboard, Dave.
Hey, Val. Thanks. Glad to be here.
Dave, why don't you tell us about what is involved with being a Field Services and Radio Sport Manager at the ARRL?
The position of Field Services Manager and Radio Sport Manager were merged together a number of years ago, and what came out of that was one of the larger departments that have ever existed here at headquarters. And inside the department, we have all the on-air operating. The contest branch, the awards branch, which includes DXCC and WAS and VUCC, and the W1AW station itself and all of its operations. Everything to do with emergency preparedness is in this department. And the field services, which is one of the largest parts of the operation. We have about 10,000 volunteers scattered around the country and a few overseas, but the whole operation is all the stuff that ARRL does that involves the member at an on-air level and a field service level.
Wow, that's a lot of hats. You must be very busy. I don't know how you do it in 40 hours a week. You have a some great information about the whole Centennial Event at the ARRL, because that was kind of part of your baby, right?
Yeah, it sure was. The Centennial was one of those things we'd been dreaming about for, wow, probably at least 5 or 6 years. Everybody sort of recognized the importance of what was happening. And when the board decided, yeah, we really need to have an on-air operating event, they turned me loose to create a set of rules and a couple aspects of this program. One thing that we had not done at ARRL since I've been here and even before me was create an operating event where the average member, the member himself, was worth points. Usually in all of our operating activities, you're chasing people that were life members and higher. Those are the things like the Hiram Percy Maxim birthday events. So I wanted everybody to be involved at all levels. And so there were people chasing people, and targets were people who had never had running experience on the air. And attracting and pileups, and that was one part of the Centennial operating. We had the QSO party. The other part was putting W1AW in each state, and as it turns out, most of the territories. And I wrote hundreds of letters to people who I knew and who I knew could operate and create an environment where other people would be brought into their stations or other stations used at the same time to share the operating experience of W1AW, knowing that would be fully appreciated around the world because of the few times we have loaned the call out. It's always a big deal.
How many people participated in the whole Centennial event, either operating or just making contacts?
Good question. We used Logbook of the World, so everybody who submitted a log and made any contacts at all was included in our numbers. About 29,000 call signs had logs entered. Over 3,000 different people used W1AW, which is a significant number, from the approximately 108 operations that had W1AW. We also had the W100AW operation going on, and that call was farmed out to some of the conventions around the country. 6 more of those, so we had W100AW stroke 4 and 5 and 6 and 7 and 8 in Dayton, so there was always something going on. People who chased awards were probably 5,000 or 6,000. We sold about 3,000 WAS plaques, and the WAS plaques were only available if you worked W1AW in 50 states, so that was quite an achievement. Many people around the world really were interested in chasing it.
Once this ended, the QSLing for this just had to be a nightmare to try and get this all squared away.
It wasn't a nightmare, but it was certainly a challenge. We knew that W1AW QSL cards would be collectible based on things we've done in the past, and I wanted them to be collectible. I wanted them too. I'm not just an employee, I'm a client. So we knew this was going to happen, and we budgeted for it, and we planned for it. And what ended up happening was it was truly the largest QSLing effort ever in the history of ham radio. And it kind of turned into some project which was harder than I thought, because no one really had done this before. There were about 3.5 million QSOs made with the W1AW calls, and we estimated we'd have to send out at least 800,000 cards to people. For the first time, we offered the chance for U.S. stations to receive their cards from WNEW through the Bureau, and about 4,000 people signed up to get those, which was gratifying, but also a big job. And a few of them also sent direct requests as well as requested them through the Bureau. So we had 5,000 or 6,000 direct requests to deal with at the same time. And you might imagine the difficulty in that when there's 115 different logs and trying to find all these people in each log and combine their mailings to try to save them money, or they sent one SASE and wanted 5 cards. And if you've ever had to deal with QSLs on a normal basis, this was that times about 2,000. So it was quite a challenge.
I know when I just get a stack this big, it's a lot of work. And even with a label printer, you know, and I print the labels and I have to peel and put them on there, you know, and then put it in my computer that I QSL them. I mean, that's a lot of work just for a stack this big. I mean, how were you able to put all that information, all that stuff? It had to be a challenge to figure a way for that.
That's a great question, Val, and I thought long and hard about that. We have the software that Delta Fox 3 Charlie Bravo has created and modified over the years. It's called BV7. It allows you to print onto the card, so we decided that that was by far the best way to do this. Every QSO was confirmed in Logbook of the World as soon as we could get the logs in. So the pressure was off, you know, for confirmations for WAS and other awards, but that gave us a little extra time too to create the QSL cards and make the designs and try to make all the cards a little bit different. That was the goal. The color schemes are loosely based on state colors or university colors for that state. And sometimes they're just colors we made up because there were no official colors, which I was surprised at.
I can't even imagine all the boxes and pallets of cards for 800,000 QSL cards. I mean, so how many people had to help get this out the door?
Quite a few. Probably 15 to 20 people overall did participate in the processing of these. 13 pallets arrived at headquarters, the original print run from our local printer. And that took a lot of space up in the shipping area. There was a lot of extra moving and work done up there to accommodate those. And we had probably 8 to 10 people for 2 weeks up in the QSL Bureau, taking the cards out of the boxes and putting them in country order and U.S. district order. About 640,000 cards went overseas, and 200,000 went to stations in the U.S.
You said it's not too late to request cards, so if there's anybody out there that wants to get some cards, how can they go about requesting that? What's the best way?
The easiest way to do it is to write me, N1NN, at ARRL.org, and this is basically for people who made contacts with W1AW, and then just ask me in an email if they can get cards and whether they want them through the Bureau. If they want them through the Bureau, they have to have a fully funded account with their local Bureau, their district Bureau. And they can get them direct too. It's going to take a little while to go through all the files, but if they want them direct, then they'll need to either send us some cash or enough SASEs to cover that.
What percentage of the way are you done getting the cards out? So if people that don't have their card yet that requested them, don't panic, right? You're not quite done yet.
Yeah, don't panic. It is definitely going to take us a while. There's a few holdovers from round 1. So round 1 basically took care of everyone's direct requests and all the Bureau cards. They're all out. And some people won't have them yet from their bureaus, and the bureaus are doing a really good job. Our Bureau volunteers around the country and around the world are doing a spectacular job, really, in getting this done.
Is there any new kind of event like that coming up anywhere in the near future? I know so many people love that Centennial event.
Yeah, Val, I think there is going to be something. We're kind of working on the every other year schedule now, and we've had some planning discussions about what to do going forward. So nothing set in stone yet, but we definitely learn what people like, and more things we can come up with that are really engaging, not just on the air. There's some in-person things that we can incorporate in that. We're looking at it, but it's a good question, and we get it, and we know we need to do more, and we're going to work on getting the resources to have that.
Well, I'm sure many of us look forward to that, and hopefully when those plans are announced, I can have you or Sean back on to tell us all about that.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us, Dave. I know you're busy. I'll let you get back to the QSL cards, and good luck in that next event.
Thanks for having me, Val.
All right.
Bye.
Bye-bye.